All right, we'll be going ahead and recording this training. Once it's done, I will convert this on over to a YouTube video that I'll shoot on over to you guys so you have this for reference later on.
Cool.
All right, so we're going to go ahead and log in with your admin user on the account so you can see all aspects of the MegaBee software. All right, close that. Okay. So this is our homepage on the MegaBee screen. Anytime that we have any new updates, releases, general information we want to shoot out to our public, it will display right here on your homepage for your immediate viewing. We do also offer our left-hand navigation. This is going to go ahead and keep an ongoing tally of the logged-in users' quotes and orders, as well as the company's overall quotes and overall orders. You can go ahead and collapse these menus down, so if you just want to see what's pertaining to you and not the entire company, you can most certainly do that as well. This is also where you can start by manually entering a quote into the system. And we also offer what we call our J-signature status. And this is our pretty much our answer to DocuSign. And this is included in your software package. And it will allow you to go ahead and send out your invoices and or carrier agreements to be signed electronically and sent back to you in a secure time frame as well. And those statuses for your orders here, for your invoices, are kept here as well. Next, we're going to go ahead and pop on up to your settings and go to system preferences here briefly. As an administrator, this is where all of your main company default information is housed at for your company. Your order and quote defaults are housed here as well. All of these defaults are currently set up to run the software as is, but I would suggest taking a minute, coming back in, review the defaults, and see if there's any changes you do want to make on those to update your software. Your outside integration, this is going to be a full listing of all companies that is currently integrated with our software that you could choose to do business with. Per the services and integration document that I had emailed to you with your software setup, that was going to include instructions on how to request your central dispatch UID. Once you have that UID, we can input that in here, and that will enable the integration so you can go ahead and post loads on over to central dispatch. Once that UID is in place and you're ready to post loads on over, if you choose, you can also go to our help section up here and install our central dispatch integration plugin, which will allow you to go ahead and dispatch loads directly over to central dispatch if you so choose.
So the information when the load gets accepted through MegaBee, then and you're ready to say post it on Central, you can basically automate that process.
At the click of a button, you can go ahead and post the load directly over to central dispatch. And once the load is posted and a carrier decides they want to move it, you can dispatch directly to that carrier over at central dispatch once that plugin is installed.
Okay, nice.
All right. Next, we're going to go ahead and pop on over to our emails and text messages editor briefly. Here in this editor, this is a full listing of all of our emails that we offer that cover each point of the lead, quote, and order process. Each one of these emails is ready to go as is, but you can customize them, edit them, change them up as much as you like, so your emails don't look like everybody else's if you want. If you also have a company logo that you want displayed as your email header, simply email me a copy of that logo, and I can have my development team go ahead and get that uploaded as your email header so that it'll go out on all your outbound emails as well. Each one of these emails is going to be chock full of what we call variables, which is bits of auto-filled information. So, for example, on the subject line of the price quote email, we have a variable here for your company name, and all variables are going to be defined by wording within these brackets with the $ in front of it. In this case, when your customer sees the subject line from your email, it's going to show price quote from Shank Bros, for example.
Yeah.
If we go ahead and pop into this email, the email is going to be, and we are currently working in Chrome and Firefox. The software does work in both features. We can go ahead and disregard this message as of right now because we are getting that removed here shortly as we are updating our software. The first tab here is our details section, and this is going to go ahead and show the type of email that you have created here, whether it's email and text, just a plain email, or a text itself. The name is where you can go ahead and update the name of the email, and when creating a new type, you can select what type of email. In this case, it's quote email, and you can decide when you would like to send this email out as well. Currently, this email is triggered to go out once the software has approved the price of the quote. Once it does that, it'll automatically shoot out the email to the customer. We have also included a feature that will allow you to automatically send emails after days, hours, or minutes. And this feature was designed primarily with our follow-up emails in mind. So, for example, if you wanted to set up a follow-up email that went out 2 days after the quote was received automatically, you could set up your follow-up email for 2 days, click Save, and then that way, once the follow-up email is set up, it will go out automatically without any trouble on your part to the customer 2 days after the quote has been created, for example. The email tab here, this is where you can go ahead and update who the email is coming from, who the email is going to, and the subject line and any attachments that this email may have. And down below we have our body of our email, which is going to be chock full of those variables that I had previously mentioned. If you find that there's information not included in your email that you want to have added, we offer a full drop-down of additional variables here so you can add as many or as few variables to your emails as you like. And last and not least, an additional feature that we offer with our software is our text messaging feature, which is not yet configured in your software. This additional feature will allow you to go ahead and send out text messages in conjunction with your email to the customer's phone number that they included when requesting a quote or when you manually entered the quote yourself. We go ahead and include a little default message for you already inserted in here, but you can go ahead and change the message up as much as you like. The text messaging feature does come at a rate of 2 cents per segment, and each segment is approximately 160 characters or less. And that is for inbound and outbound text messages as well. So you can go ahead and shoot out a little introductory text message to your customer just to get your foot in the door, and then follow up with them from that point on via phone call, et cetera, et cetera. Mm-hmm. And once you're, if you're interested in getting that feature set up, you simply give me a call. It takes me about 5 minutes to get that feature set up for you. We purchase a number on your behalf and get that set up for you. So that's the number that your customers would see when they receive a text message from you. So once you're ready, simply give me a call. Next, we're going to go ahead and click on Settings and go back to our Documents and Forms. This is a listing of all of our documents and forms that can go out as order attachments with your order email, such as your invoice, carrier terms and conditions, customer terms and conditions, et cetera, et cetera. Just like with the emails, each one of these documents is going to be full of those variables, which you can add or remove additional ones if you like. And you can update these documents as much as you like to suit your company's needs. One thing I do like to go over with my customers in our invoice, for example, go ahead and open this up a little bit more, is our pricing and shipping section of our invoice displayed here. Within this invoice, it's going to show the customer the breakdown of your broker fee, your carrier fees, and your total fees on the order. Some of my customers like to have all this information displayed for their customers. Some don't. So if you decide you don't want some of this information displayed, let's say, for example, you want all this removed and just the total fee information left, you can remove those fields, or if you like, give me a call and I can go ahead and get those removed for you as well.
Okay.
All right. Next, we are going to go ahead and pop on down to your users editor. And this is where your 2 active users are housed at in the software, where you can make updates to them, or you can create new users by clicking on the new user button here. You'll see a couple little blue asterisks here. Those indicate required fields and must be filled in order to save the record. Once you've inputted your username and login password, as well as the name and contact email, phone, and fax that will display for the agent's contact information on the outbound emails, you can go ahead and decide via security objects what access you want this agent to have to the software. You, as an administrator, have full and complete access to all areas of the MegaBee software. As where a sales agent, for example, typically only has access to quote pricing, and that enables them to adjust the price of the quote up or down so they can go ahead and close the deal and move it right along. Other than that, they don't have any administrative access. They come in, do their job, and go home at the end of the day. No muss, no fuss. All right, so any questions on any of the settings editors that we just covered here?
On the text messaging, you said you set up a phone number if we chose to use that. What happens when people reply to a text message?
So you'll see here the show notifications up here at the top. Once a customer responds to your text message with a text message of their own, it will go ahead and show up in the show notifications here. It will uptick by 1 and display in red, and it will allow you to go ahead and click on that, open up the quote, and within the quote itself, there's a text messaging box that will go ahead and house your inbound and outbound messages. So you can go ahead and continue the communication via text message with the customer through the quote and order, or you can go ahead and move on with giving them a phone call. That way you're not racking up text messaging charges, for example. So again, the text messaging feature was built around the idea of just kind of getting a short message out to the customer, get your foot in the door, and then you can continue on from there. All right, next we're going to go ahead and pop on over to our pricing section here. Over in our pricing section, this is where we have our pricing calculator, which will allow you to go ahead and check your prices within a safe environment so you're not having to create a quote or order each time you want to see what the price is from point A to point B. And it will also show you a pricing breakdown down below of any per mile fees or any flat fees associated with the information that you had just entered. With our software, we start you off with our price projection feature. That goes ahead and calculates up your carrier fee for you based off of completed order data, the most recent of, and specific algorithms that we have set up in place. That feature goes ahead and takes the hassle out of having to maintain your own pricing matrix, et cetera, having to do that on a daily basis. With the price projection, we take that hassle out of your hands, but we still give you the ability to go ahead and add additional fees or discounts onto that projected price. That feature is included in your 30-day free trial, but it is at a cost of additional $50 per month should you continue to want to use that feature. If not, we offer a multitude of pricing editors down below that will allow you to go ahead and calculate up your own fees for you and maintain your own pricing structure based on a multitude of pricing editors that we offer here.
Well, I got one question.
Yeah, go ahead.
But the $50 fee, that's for using your price quoter, basically, that's coming off of historical data.
That is correct, yes.
And could you show us how you would get one of those quotes, like what you would fill in to show that process, or how you get that?
We can go ahead. Let's see here. So if we wanted to see what the price was from, let's say, Phoenix, Arizona to Dallas, Texas, for example, and the software will autofill your city and state fields for you once we calculate up a price. Let's see here. Lead source dates aren't required. The vehicle type, we can select a medium car and click calculate price. So see down below we have our deposit fees, which we can go ahead and control, or which you have the ability to control as well, and your carrier fees for you as well. So if we wanted to see what the price was for standard shipping, we'll click on that breakdown here, and we'll see that our price projection feature has calculated up your fee for you as well. Within our quotes, we also offer a compare price button as well, so you can see 5 of comparable routes from point A to point B, so you can go ahead and see where your price is hitting at, whether you're a little too hot, a little too cold, or just right.
Yeah, so that number is being generated off what data?
That is being generated off of completed order data, the most recent of, and some specific algorithms that we have in place as well for monitoring this. It's always pulling from the most recent of data because things are changing. What was the price last week may not be the price this week, for example.
So is that to get it updated weekly?
It is continuously updated, yes.
So daily?
I believe weekly. I don't have the specific on that, but I can most definitely get you a specific on that. All right, so next, let's go ahead and pop on back to our home page and let's walk through the process of entering a quote into the system and processing it through as an order. So to do so, we're going to go ahead and click on the Enter a Quote button here in our left-hand nav. Because we are logged in as your agent, John, it's going to automatically assign this quote to you, and it will show received and updated timestamps as we move along the process. And we have to fill in the fields with these blue asterisks in order to move along the process. In this case, let's go from Atlanta, Georgia to Dallas, Texas this time. And let's go ahead and put in John at Shankbros, so you can go ahead and see exactly what your customers are going to see here once you start getting emails. We'll do a pickup date for tomorrow and delivery date for the following day. And your date ranges, we give you the ability to go ahead and select on, before, after, or between, so you can go ahead and try and specify your dates down a little bit more accurately if need be. Your vehicle section, you can add as many vehicles as need be, or you can go ahead and remove vehicles from here as well. In this case, we must include a vehicle type and running status. We'll call this medium car, no modifications. We'll call this a 2010 Nissan Altima, for example. And if you have a customer that calls in wanting a quote for a vehicle that you're just unsure of, you don't know what that vehicle is, once you go ahead and put in the year, make, and model, you can go ahead and click on the View button here, and it'll take you over to Google Images, where in this case you can see exactly what a 2010 Nissan Altima looks like, so you can go ahead and price it up more accurately if need be.
Yeah, that's cool.
If you get the VIN number, does it auto-populate the other cells?
Unfortunately, no, it does not, but that would be nice if it did. VIN number, auto-populate everything. Just jotting that down here. Okay. All right, so moving right along. Down here in our contact information, if this is a repeat client that you've used in the past that is part of your client database, you can select them from the drop down here and it would autofill all applicable contact fields for you. In this case, we're just going to go from carrier soft testing. We'll say 555. And quote source, we'll say this is coming from our company as if it was from your website. And any requests the customer may have can be put in here as well. Once our information has been inputted, we click the Save button in any one of these sections. And it will go ahead and now assign a quote number to it. And it'll show us some updated timestamps, as well as our city and state fields have been inputted, and our distance is now included. And you'll see now over in our left-hand navigation for John's quotes that it is upticked as new quotes and is follow-up by 1. And it displays in both categories here, so you can always differentiate between which quotes have and have not yet been followed up on. Now that the quote has been created, we can scroll on down to the bottom where we see now we have a couple new sections. The first one is our emails and texts that have been sent out. In this case, it's going to show you the type. In this case, email, when it was sent, which email was sent, who it was from, and who it went to. And if you included a specific message to the customer as well. Your internal notes, you can go ahead and use this box to keep track of any internal notes for your own reference or your agent's need be. And down below, the software has given us a little price calculation here of the fees for each service level that was offered for our broker fee and for our carrier fee as well. Next is our follow-up section. When a new quote is created, it is always created with the priority as new, but you can go ahead and update the priority, downgrade it as needed. If you need to resend the quote and or send a follow-up email, you can check either one of these boxes here. If you're sending a follow-up email, if you have multiple ones, you can select which one. And you can include a custom message to be included on the follow-up email as well to that specific customer. The software has automatically scheduled a follow-up call for today's date, which will enable you to select what type of follow-up action you took with the customer if you so choose. The software will keep track of how many times you called the customer if you're using our call manager feature. That's an additional feature as well, which we don't need to cover at this moment. The number of emails that have been sent out, number of text messages, and how many times you bulk emailed the customer is all housed here for numerical values. The email status going to be null and void right here as well. That, like I said, that feature is null and void at this time. And the do not call feature has to do with our call manager feature. If you were using our call manager feature and you queued up a list of customers and started calling them, and one of them said thanks but no thanks, don't call me again, you could mark the customer as a do not call. That way, if they got queued up in your next call manager session, it would recognize the request, skip over them, and move on to the next call, so you're not inadvertently harassing the customer on accident. Next is our pricing section here, and this is going to go ahead and show our deposit fee for each service level and the carrier fee calculated for each service level based off of our price projection feature. As I mentioned, we offer a compare price button here as well, which is going to show you up to 5 comparable prices from point A to point B, or within the vicinity of point A to point B. And you'll see here that our carrier fee was calculated at $450 for standard shipping. On our compare price button, we're seeing that we're hitting between $350 and $500, so we're just about right in the middle, so we're good to go on that. If the customer calls in and says, you know, I want to book with you guys, but can you lower the price down a little bit? $600 is a little too expensive. Let's say they can only afford $550. So if we want to knock our carrier fee down from $450 to $400, just go ahead and update it as so. Once we click outside of that field, a message is going to display up at the top stating we changed the price of the quote, and if we want to resend it next time we click save. In this case, we want to select yes because we want the customer to get the updated price quote, and click save. And that will go ahead and resend the quote out to the customer. And you'll see in, let's see here. That should have resent it, did it? Okay, it just hasn't updated email section yet to show that it's been resent. That will happen momentarily here. But you'll see now in our pricing section, our carrier fee has been updated from $450 to $400, and now we have a total price of $550. And you'll see also in our internal notes section, it is going to keep track of which agent on this date and time made what changes to this quote or order. In this case, we reduced the price by $50 on the carrier fee. So now that the customer is happy with the price, the order can be placed one of two ways. One, on the price quote email that they received. They also have these place order links, so they can go ahead and select which service level they want to book with and place the order online. Once they do that, the software would automatically update your quote down to your order section here automatically. The second and more prominent way of placing the order is for you, the agent, to do it for the customer. In this case, we're going to go ahead and click on Place Order for Standard Shipping. All right, and here we are navigated over to our order editor. You can go ahead and expand these or collapse these sections down if you want, open them up one at a time, or you can have them all open at once if you so choose. Your order section is going to go ahead and house the status of the order, which cannot be updated until we've saved this order. Sales agent is still John, but can be reassigned if need be. And we'll have the received, updated, and timestamps as we navigate through the process. Shipping method selected is open, but can be updated and closed if need be. And if you need to send a follow-up, order follow-up here, you can do so just like with sending the quote follow-up. If this customer were to have 2 orders with you going to 2 different locations, so you got 2 separate order ID numbers, you could insert the secondary order ID number in here and click Save. That way you can do your business with working this order, and at the click of a mouse, you can jump right over to the secondary order and do your work in it. So there's no having to search for it. It's just right there at your fingertips. Your previous quote information is housed here for your reference, as well as your vehicle information. And now we have a couple new sections as well, pickup, delivery, and billing that have some required fields here. So we can go ahead and just fill in some general information just to move along the process here. And in our billing section, we can copy the information either from the pickup or from the delivery information, or if it's a third party, we can manually enter the information in as well. In this case, we're going to go ahead and copy it from the delivery location, and it will autofill that those fields for you. Next is our payment section, and in the payment section, it consists of 3 subsections. One is your customer, broker, and carrier. Almost all the time, you're going to be worrying about just the customer section. as where the broker section over here was created with the idea in mind that you, the broker, can move your funds between you and the carrier on the back end without the customer not having to be alerted to that. For example, the customer is only concerned that he's paying $550. He's not interested that you get $150 and that the carrier gets $400. But on the back end, if the carrier needs another $50, example, to move this, you can go ahead and change your broker fee from $150 to $100 and change your carrier fee from $400 to $450. That way, customers still paying the same amount, but you can move those funds between you and the carrier if you need be.
So does
Otherwise,
excuse me, does that, when you do something like that, does it update, it doesn't do anything with central dispatch the order to this carrier, does it? I mean, is there any correlation there? Like, if you dispatch this on central dispatch, you know what I'm saying?
yeah, once typically the prices would be hammered out before the dispatching, but if that this again, the moving back and forth is typically just on the back end for your reference, so you can go ahead and move funds between you and the carrier. But that will go ahead and update your invoice information, or I'm sorry, not your invoice, but your carrier agreements and/or invoice that the carrier is signing up for as well. Okay, so next, any billing notes that you may need to keep track of can be inputted here as well. And the carrier information is displayed here, but the carrier is not yet part of the game yet. So once we've inputted all the necessary information that we have to place this order, we can click the Save button in any one of these sections. It'll pop us back up to the top of the order where it's showing me that I didn't fill out the delivery date field, which is fine. The order was saved successfully, and now it is converted from your quote section on down to your order section here. And you'll see now that our J-signature invoice was sent out to the customer and is awaiting signing by them. So now that the order has been placed, next we need to go ahead and collect our fee so we can go ahead and do the job for the customer. So in theory, let's state that we have collected our deposit fee of $150 from the customer, and now we need to update the order accordingly. And to do so, we're going to go ahead and update the status of the order to payment received. Scroll on down to the payment section, and you'll see now here in our customer section, our deposit of $150, shipping fee of $400, and total fee of $550. The deposit is going to be paid when the order is placed, but can be updated to another point if need be. Shipping fee is going to be paid COD, but again, can be updated to another point as needed. The amount paid to broker is $0, but we have received our $150, so we need to go ahead and update this from $0 to $150. And once we do so, it'll change from a red field to green, indicating it has been paid in full, unlike the carrier, which has not yet been paid as well. So once we've updated those fields accordingly, we've updated the status. We can click the Save button. That will update the status of the order to payment received and shoot out the email to the customer informing them that we have successfully received their payment. Next, now that we've gotten paid, it's our job to go ahead and find a carrier to get this moving. If you work directly with carriers, you can bypass the load boards altogether and just dispatch directly to the carrier if need be, or you can go ahead and post loads up to the national load boards. And now that the order has been created, we have a couple new sections down here at the bottom. Our previous quote notes for your reference, your order emails and text messages that can be sent out, and any updates as we navigate through the order process. We're going to go ahead and show here as we move through each point in the process. And any order notes you may need to take can be housed here as well. Once you have your central dispatch UID requested and inputted into your software, our dispatch section here will display as a post update the load board button, which will allow you to access the load board editor and confirm the information that you'll be posting up to central dispatch. This is also where you'll be able to dispatch directly to carriers over at central dispatch once that integration is in place. Here in our customer section, this is where you can also view the invoice. By clicking here, it'll show you the copy of the customer's invoice in another tab, so you can go ahead and view that for your reference if need be. Since you're using the J-signature feature, the email customer invoice and email carrier agreement, that's going to be null and void. So if you need to resend the invoice and or carrier agreement, the send invoice and send carrier agreement buttons is what you're going to want there. So in this case, if we were to go ahead and resend the invoice, it would void out the previous J-signature invoice, so they would no longer be able to sign that one. They can only sign the most recent of invoice that they've received. Same thing with the carrier agreement. All right, so in theory, we've posted the load up to the national load boards, and that will go ahead and once we post it, it would automatically update the status of the order to posted, and it would automatically shoot out the email to the customer. In this case, just doing it manually just to move through the process. So in theory, now that the vehicle has been posted, and lo and behold, this nice carrier comes along and says, I'll be happy to move that load for you. Next, we can go ahead and once the plugin would be installed, we would scroll on down to the action section, and the dispatch to central dispatch load board button would display here. We would click on that, navigates us on over to central, where we can go ahead and search for the carrier there, select them, and it would go ahead and shoot out the appropriate documentation to the carrier, as well as backfill their information into your order here. So it autofill all the carrier's information here and add them to your address book for any future hauls as needed. And of course, once the vehicle has been dispatched, it would automatically update the status of the order to dispatched and shoot out the email to the customer informing them that a carrier has been assigned to their load and will be there for pickup on said date. Next, once the carrier has contacted you and informed you that the vehicle has been picked up and is on the truck and is on its way, you can choose to update the status of the order to in transit, click save, and that'll shoot out the email to the customer letting them know their vehicle is currently en route to them. Last and not least, once the carrier has contacted you and informed you that the vehicle is off the truck, bill of lading has been signed, carrier has been paid, and everyone can go on their merry little way, we can update the status of the order to completed. And for our records, we can scroll on down to the payment section and update the amount paid the carrier to what they received. In this case, $400. Once we click outside that field, we see that there is no more red, indicating that everyone has been paid their equal amounts. Once we click save, that will go ahead and update the status of the order to completed and shoot that email out to the customer informing them that their vehicle has been delivered and thank you for doing business with Shank Bros. You'll see now that the order has been completed. It is no longer displaying in your left-hand navigation. So if you need to pull up this order a few months down the road for any reason, if you know any of the general information on the customer, such as their name, contact email, phone, or even the quarter order ID number, you can use our global search tool up here to go ahead and pull up that customer's information immediately, and it's right there at the click of your mouse, so you can jump right in and get any information out of it. With our quotes and orders as well, if you needed to go ahead and see multiple quotes and orders, the global search is great for pulling up one at a time, but if you need to see multiples, for example, you can go ahead and click on quotes up in our left-hand navigation, and you'll see these drop-down menus that we have up here for sales agent, lead source, priority, and client. That will allow you to go ahead and, in this case, see all quotes that are assigned to, let's say, John. Or you can go ahead and search by priorities, any new ones, in this case, none. And same thing for our orders as well. So you can go ahead and see multiples on your search criteria as well. If you decide that, the flippers up here, just I need a little bit more in-depth information on searching, you can click on our Show Hide filter, which will go ahead and give you access to our advanced search, which gives you a entirely large amount of search criteria, so you can go ahead and get a specific breakdown of your searches that you're trying to get. All right, so in a nutshell, that about covers the day-to-day operations in the MegaBee software. At this point, I'm going to go ahead and turn you guys loose on it so you can go ahead and start playing around with it, start getting familiarized with it, and of course, jot down any questions you come across as you're navigating through, and feel free to give me a call as well on that. Our customer support is at no additional cost to you. It's included in your software package, and unlike other softwares, we're happy to answer our phone over here if you call us. Well,
Did you already
unlike
send us
earlier,
the sign-in information?
for the Central Dispatch UID.
No, the users for MegaBee.
Yes, I had emailed that on
Okay.
over previously to you guys. Let me go ahead and see here. So, John.
One question. Is this?
Let me see here. Yeah, it looks like I emailed it over to you on the 7th to John at Shank Bros.
Okay.
And so there you should have 3 emails from me. The setup information, your website quote form instructions. That will allow your web developer to go ahead and place our iframe quote form on your website so customers can request a quote there, send that information right in your software where it'll be calculated up, and shoot out the price quote email to the customer. The last one is that MegaBee integration and services. That is the one that is going to go ahead and list all the companies that we're integrated with, including Central Dispatch, and the instructions on how to request your UID from them. Okay.
I'm looking on the 7th. Oh, okay. No. All right. I'm going to forward this to you, Ron.
Perfect.
All right. All right, gentlemen. Well, I'm going to go ahead and turn you guys loose on that, unless you guys have any additional questions at this time. I'm going to go ahead and shoot your account on over to our financing or our financial department and run up the $99 setup fee, and we'll begin your. Let's see here. We are on, what is today, the 21st. We'll begin your 30-day free trial starting tomorrow, okay?
All right. So those rates, refresh my memory on the rates, the monthly fees with the quarter feature.
So we're running a $99 setup fee today. That covers the first 30 days in the software, your training, setup of the software, etc. After that, it is $200 per month. That is for the MegaBee software, and if you wanted to continue using the price projection feature, it is an additional $50 a month for a total of $250 per month.
Okay. Good.
All right. And just a heads up, I know you guys have recently started. We have a new CEO with the company, and we're making a lot of changes over here. And I believe one of those that is coming down the pipe here within the next couple months is a change to our pricing structure. But my CEO will be going ahead and sending out an email to all of our customers with the finite details of that probably within the next month or so.
So that means it's going up, right?
Exactly, yeah. So just a heads up on that, but I do need to speak with him about our new customers as well, see how we're handling that, et cetera, et cetera. But again, we'll be sending out that information here as well.
That'd be appreciated, Richard, because obviously we make decisions on the information that you gave us, and
oh yeah, no, most definitely, yeah. No, I just want to let you guys be aware of that sooner than later. I'm trying to let all my customers know about this sooner than later because, well, nobody likes it, and I don't like being the bearer of bad news, of course, either. All right, so we'll have those specifics out to you guys here soon. I got your logo here as well, so I'm going to go ahead and shoot that on over to the development team so we can get that uploaded for you. And I'm going to go ahead and turn you guys loose, and if you have any questions, feel free to give me a call, okay? Or shoot me an email as well.
All right.
All right, thank you, gentlemen. I will speak to you soon then.
Yeah, that'd be great. If you send the YouTube link over later on today, that'd be appreciated.
I surely will. Thank you guys very much. I will try to have that taken care of for you today and get that to you.
Okay, take care.
Take care now. Bye-bye.